Adventures of Ellen White and the Pioneers. A very narrow escape.
One day, Elder and Mrs. White were getting ready to go on a long trip on the train. They had been staying in the home of Mr. Palmer in Jackson, Michigan, while they preached to the members there. They were packing their clothes in their suitcases and bags, and they were also taking a trunk full of books and papers that told about the coming of Jesus. All afternoon, Elder White had talked about the uneasy feeling he had about going on this trip. "Ellen, I feel strange about going on this trip tonight," Elder White said to his wife, "but we have an appointment to speak to the people, so we must go." Before they left for the train station, they knelt in prayer with their friends, and they asked that God would send the angels to protect them on the train. And when they got up from their knees, Elder White said, "Now I'm ready to go, because I know the Lord will take care of us." Their friends then took them to the station, where they boarded the train about 8 o'clock. Elder and Sister White went into one of the cars, where they took a seat. And then Ellen suddenly said, "James, I cannot stay in this car. We have to leave here." And so they went into the next car of the train and found some seats there. But Sister White did not take off her bonnet as she usually did when she was travelling at night. She even sat holding her bag as though she expected something to happen but did not know what. The bell rang, and the train slowly started out in the darkness of the night. For some reason they could not explain, the Whites did not feel happy about riding on this train. The train had gone only about 3 miles, which is about 5 kilometers, when suddenly they felt the train began to jerk backward and forward and then bump suddenly to a stop. They realized that the train had been in an accident, and they quickly raised the window and looked out to see how badly the train was damaged. They heard people crying with pain, and some others were screaming because they were afraid. The car, in which the Whites had first tried to find a seat, was badly broken, and one end was raised up upon a pile of wrecked cars. 4 people in that car, where they were seated, had died, and many others were badly hurt. How very thankful Elder and Mrs. White were that the car in which they had moved to was still standing on the tracks, back about 30 meters from the wrecked cars. Everyone was anxious because another train was supposed to come along on those tracks in a little while, so pieces of the wrecked train were quickly piled up and set on fire to warn the other train to stop. Some of the men took burning pieces of wood for torches and ran down the track to warn the other train of the danger ahead. Elder White picked Sister White up in his arms and carried her across a small stream of water to the main road, and they spent the rest of the night in the home of an Adventist family living not far away. The next morning they all went to see the wrecked train. They found that the wreck had been caused by a large ox that had lain down on the train track, and when the engine struck it, the train had been thrown from the track. Men from the railroad company were there inspecting the wreckage. The engine was lying beside the track, and the express car was crushed to pieces, but the baggage car was only damaged a little. Elder White was very pleased when he heard this, because he found that his large trunk full of books and papers were not damaged. The men inspecting the wreck were surprised when they saw the car in which Elder and Mrs. White had been riding was still standing on the track. It was separated from the wrecked cars, and it stood alone, about 30 meters from the one in front of it. They could see the bolt and the chain lying on the platform of the car, as if someone had put it there. "How can this be?" the people asked. "This train car was fastened to the other cars with a big bolt and chain." The puzzled brakeman said, "It's a complete mystery. How can that train car become detached from all the other cars ahead?" None of the train men could explain it, but to James and Ellen White it was no mystery. They knew the answer. They felt sure that God had answered their prayers by sending an angel to unhook their train car. They were thankful for such comforting promises as the one found in Psalm 34 verse 7, which says, "The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him, and delivereth them." Elder and Sister White got their trunk of books and papers and their suitcase and continued on their way to Wisconsin on another train. They arrived safely and in time for their appointment to meet with God's people there. Come and join us next time to hear about how God provides for Ellen and James White and their family.